we were criticized. The president was heavily criticized for trying to mess with that deal by all sorts of people here in the swamp. But lo and behold, there's universal praise for the outcome.
President Trump's National Trade Council Director Peter Navarro here yesterday was crowing about the South Korean trade deal that was announced, but not quite finalized. So did free traders jump the gun in criticizing a trade strategy that seems to be working? Here's the dean of the free market, the original capitalist tool, Forbes media chairman, Steve Forbes. So, Steve, does the Trump team have some bragging rights here?
Not much. With all the hoopla around it, I think people are heaving a sigh of relief that the deal wasn't blown up in entirety. But in terms of opening up for services, not much done, even though the U.S. has a $12 billion surplus with South Korea. Farm products, not hardly anything done. A little bit for the auto industry. So a lot of hoopla about very little, but I'm just glad that the whole deal didn't blow up.
But Navarro and the other trade geeks inside the White House right now are saying essentially, hey, look, we're going to be able to get a lot more cars into Korea than we could have before, to which you say what?
We sell 10,000 a year in Korea because people don't much like our cars. They're raising it now from 25,000 to 50,000. Big deal.
All right. Now, South Korea is not going to have to pay a steel tariff as a result of this deal, but Navarro said that they will be subject to quotas, which have essentially the same effect. Is he right?
It has the same effect in terms of, yeah, it's going to restrict steel, but all that means is companies will buy the steel from other countries. So it's a world market.
But a tariff is something that affects U.S. consumers. That price that the importers have to pay in the steel tariffs is going to be passed on to consumers. Will the same thing happen with quotas?
Less so. Tariffs, just think of tariffs as sales taxes. If you think of sales tax, you automatically understand higher prices. So again, with the Korean deal, not a big deal, but by golly, there's a deal still there. That's what I take comfort from.
Let's move on to something a lot dearer to people's hearts. I know a lot dearer to your hearts, the tax cuts and the effects of the tax cuts. We have the earnings coming out next week. A lot of people say that the corporate earnings are going to be the best we've seen in 7 years because of the tax cuts. It's increasing the GDP by 2.9%, up to 2.9%. We had a 4% increase in retail sales this week. We have all these benefits, plus individuals. Look at this, tax cut benefits. Single taxpayer making $50,000, they get an additional $1,100 a year. A family of four making $110,000, they get an additional $1,400. Isn't this a great selling point for Republicans to be making on the campaign trail?
It's a great selling point, but they also should be selling the point there's more to come. This is a down payment. Have people looking to the future, not just to the present and past. If they do that, I think they have a huge winning issue this fall.
But, you know, we had this special election in Pennsylvania. Rick Saccone sort of avoiding the issue of the tax cuts. Why? And is this a strategy that we're going to see more of from some establishment Republicans?
That's why they should throw consultants out. Go with something positive. Don't try to hedge here, try to say, oh, somebody will get offended. Go with something bold. That's how the president won the election. That's how Reagan won his elections. Go with something positive. Good things are starting to happen. More to come.
On the other side, Democrats apparently are going to be using the tax cuts to try to harm the Republicans in the November election. Will they get any traction there at all?
Only if the Republicans let them like they did in Pennsylvania. It's in the Republicans' hands.
Okay, very quickly, the budget is coming up again right before the election in September or October. A lot of people were unhappy with President Trump, the fact that he signed instead of vetoing the budget deal. But Kim Strassel from the Wall Street Journal has a piece talking about something called an impound, a way that the president and a simple majority could pass a budget that's a lot less expensive to taxpayers in September.
It's a good idea. That impounding, where the president can take certain items from the budget and say we're not going to spend the money, that was taken away from the president back in 1974 because back then Democrats didn't like Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon used impounding to control the budget. Democrats said we didn't like it. They took it away. So give it back to a president. It's a very good device to control government spending.
And you could do it with the president and a simple majority. But the question is, majorities aren't that simple among Republicans, because you have some very establishment Republicans like Mitch McConnell kind of hesitating in something like that. Could he be coerced to go ahead with it?
Well, this is where the president's got to make it an issue, that taking away this tool to control spending, give me the tools, I'll do the job.
Okay, the word impound, folks. You're going to hear a lot more about impounding coming up in the next couple of months. We hope the president does something like this.
Absolutely.
Steve Forbes, great to see you.
Good
Have
to see
a
you,
wonderful
David.
Easter.
You too.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.